Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to all the participants on the screen. We will resume our webinar. Okay, without further ado, allow me to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Nur Syakirin binti Abdul Syukur, Secretary of the Malaysian Dental Council. Dr. Nurul Syakirin is a dental public health specialist who currently serves as the Secretary of the Malaysian Dental Council, Ministry of Health Malaysia. She's graduated from the University of Malaya for her first degree in 2002, and later she pursued her postgraduate training in the Master of Public Health at the same university. So, bahagian kesihatan pergigian would like to deliver our warmest gratitude to Dr. Nurul Syakirin for her willingness to contribute and share her knowledge and expertise with us. Without further ado, Dr. Nurul Syakirin, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Allow me to have a few seconds to upload my presentation. Share my screen.
Dr. Nurul, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now? Dr. Norazia, yes. Can you hear me now? Okay, or the rest can respond that they can hear.
Sorry. We cannot hear you.
But the rest of the participants responded that they can hear.
Boleh dengar, Doktor?
The others boleh dengar, Doktor.
Alright, okay. Now.
Oh, ada echo. Okay, alright. Never mind. Okay, I think the rest can hear, right? So once again, thank you, Dr. Norazia, for the kind introduction. I would like also to thank the organizer, Oral Health Division Johor, for organizing this webinar. And it is interesting to note that we have gathered almost 200 participants this morning. And I noted that some of the participants are not just from Johor, yeah, so that's really good. That's a really great response from the participants. Okay, let me share my presentation today. Is about Code of Professional Conduct 2022. Basically, my presentation will cover some introduction, and then I'll go through the code, the whole part of the code, part A and part B, and some conclusion. Okay, as an introduction, I would like to stress on our profession. Medical and dental profession is a noble profession, and we have noted that there has been an increase in the liability cases, and therefore it implies that patients' expectations are also increased. And as doctors, as healthcare professionals, we are held liable for breach of the legal duty of care. I mean here not just doctors, dentists, also, dental surgeons, and also dental therapists that is registered under the Act. And the aim of this sharing or presentation is to make the practitioners aware the ethical and legal aspect of our profession and the rights of the patient, so that we can anticipate any possible risk or harm, that we can reduce complaints from either from patients or also from our colleagues. And as a professional, be it dental surgeons and also dental therapists, we have to conduct ourselves as professional. If we want people to call us as professional, recognize us as professional, and be professional. So what is the meaning of dental professional? What should we do? We have to respect patients for their unique needs and values, and also place their interests first and foremost. And also considers their values, integrity. We have to maintain our highest integrity, honesty, and competency. Strive to improve, actively support professional organization, and concern about conduct. And it's all about ethics in a profession. Right. So, touching about professionals or professionals, we cannot run from laws and ethics. We need to be bound by law and ethics. So basically, Dr. Nurin Shahida this morning has already given an overview of the Dental Act, which is the law that we have to, as dental professional, to obey. We have to obey, and we also have to obey any other laws such as dental regulations, Private Healthcare Facilities and Services Act and regulation, and also relevant acts. Dentistry. I will list it out later. And in terms of ethics, okay. It's about moral principles and code of behavior that governs our individual action and also our interaction with patients within the society. So basically, ethics is implemented by a professional body and it's self-inflicted and voluntary. And now it's in the written form, which is in the Code of Professional Conduct, which covers the obligation to patients, dental profession, colleagues, and also the public. So this is what I wanted to share about other laws applied to dental practitioners on top of the Dental Act and also the regulations. We have all these other acts that is related. And all these acts, including the Dental Act and also the regulation, can be accessible through the Federal Legislation Malaysia website. So just go there and then search accordingly, and you can download or read from the online. Okay, so why we want to regulate ourselves? Basically, in terms of professional, it's a form of consumer protection, self-regulation, and also when we are professional, we are given privilege. So government trusts professionals to be able to put aside our staff interest in favor of promoting the public interest. That's why these laws and ethics are actually developed by our own profession, okay, to protect our own profession and also for the favor of public interest. So I think Dr. Nurin has already introduced, has already given to you all the details about Dental Act, and this is what are the reasons why, what are the new provisions under Dental Act for effective regulations, strengthening the disciplinary procedures, and also in terms of reviewing fees and penalties. So this is also Dr. Nurin has already gone through this morning, but I wish to highlight this A and B, the disciplinary authority. The first disciplinary authority over council that's given by the council under the Dental Act is on infamous conduct on any professional respect and contravene any provision of the Code of Professional Conduct or any guidelines. So these are the first two under the list of disciplinary authority. The highest or the most frequent disciplinary actions or complaints that were received under the preliminary investigation committee, PIC. So this is type of cases. I'm sharing a bit the data on type of cases from 1997 to 2021. These are the complaints that are investigated by the PIC, Preliminary Investigation Committee. It range from negligence, unethical behavior, unethical advertising, complaint of costs, convicted in Malaysia with punishable imprisonment, sexual molestation, and also drug abuse. So basically, when a practitioner is being called by PSC for preliminary investigation, they will look into the Code of Professional Conduct and other relevant guidelines if the practitioner has go against any of these codes and guidelines. So in terms of Code of Professional Conduct, is mentioned in the Dental Act under Part 8, okay, Section 82. The council shall establish a CPC, Code of Professional Conduct, or we call in short is CPC, to be observed by all practitioners to extend in such manner as it considers appropriate, and practitioners shall comply with the provisions specified in the Code of Professional Conduct. And if it comes to knowledge of council that there's a breach of the code, the matter shall be referred to the Complaints Committee. This is what Dr. Nurin also highlighted this morning. So now I'll go into the Code of Professional Conduct, so the entire content of the Code of Professional Conduct. Basically, what's new in this Code of Professional Conduct, being revised from the old code is that some of the parts, the component has been rearranged, some of the component has been simplified, some of the component has been elaborated, and a couple of the provision has been removed. Okay. So basically, in terms of ethics, one of the core function of MDC and the MDTB is the provision of high standards of personal conduct and professional ethics among practitioners. Okay, so basically, ethics covers honor, integrity, trust, and professionalism. So in terms of code of ethics in our dental profession in Malaysia, we have actually established the ethical code since 1983 with the disciplinary jurisdiction and code of practice, followed by CPC, the first version of CPC in 1997, the second version of CPC in 2008, and currently there's the latest version, CPC 2022, enforced on 1st July 2022 and supersedes all the previous versions. So basically, the CPC 2022 starts with what is infamous conduct, which is a failure to meet the minimum standards of professional practice expected by profession. So this includes any behavior that reflects adversely on the reputation. So basically, dishonorable, immoral, dishonest, even not directly connected with the practitioner's dental practice. So basically, it covers our daily life as well, that carries when we carry the title as professional, not just limited to our practice. And although we noted that circumstances may arise from time to time, which is not covered in these categories that is listed under infamous conduct, and then in that instances, the council or board will have to consider and judge upon the facts presented. Okay. So we go to the part A, obligations and responsibility. We have 4 obligations and responsibility towards patients, dental profession, clinics, and also the public. Obligation to patient, number 1 is patient care. It's likely the title is likely revised. The old one is patient selection, now is patient care. So basically, the principle is we have to be obligated to provide care and not discriminating patients in terms of their selections, and best judgment to compromise patient to ensure that dental needs these patients are appropriately managed, and we should not refuse treatment for patient with communicable disease. Okay, I think this issue has been highlighted as well during the pandemic of COVID. Basically, if we have all the what we call it, means and measures in terms of infection control, we shall not refuse treatment for patients. Okay. However, we may refuse a patient if they do not comply with the requirement of being admitted to the clinic beyond our capacity, unable to manage patient's problem, and in the patient's best interest. This is the only 4 consideration that we can take into account when we want to refuse patient. Okay. And the item number 2 is on patients' right to change practitioners. They have their right to seek treatment elsewhere. In terms of chaperones, the staff or assistant must be present all the time as chaperone in the during dental treatment. And this is something new on visual or audio recording. It must not compromise patients' privacy, dignity, confidentiality, and autonomy. And we must display a notice of recording, for example, CCTV is present in this clinic, something like that, and must obtain consent from patients if you want to record, have some visual audio recording in this surgery. Consent of treatment for must be voluntary, and continuing permission of the patient to receive a particular treatment. In case we are changing our treatment plans and etc., we need to get consent, right? So basically, when we talk about consent, treatment without legally valid consent is a trespass, okay, and amount to battery. And we have 2 types of consent listed under this CPC, which is implied consent for examination and express consent, either verbal, non-verbal, and also written consent. For a consent to be valid, the requirement of the law is person must be competent in terms of age. That means in Malaysia, we are majority, and in other countries, 18 years old and sound and mind is considered competent in terms of age. And below of this age, we have to get written consent from parents. And if the person is above 18, but they have mental handicap, temporary unconscious, that is an exception in terms of consent. And the consent have to be taken prior to carrying out any treatment, right? So that's why I mentioned if is there any change of treatment as well, you have to take a new consent. And then adequate information must be provided in a language that the patient understands. Basically, risks and benefits should be covered. Likelihood of success and of failure, limitation and cost also have to be informed to the patients. And the consent also have to be voluntary, given freely without duress or constraint. Recently, we received a complaint from patients stating that the practitioners is giving information during treatments while the patient mouth is open. So basically, the patient felt that it was she cannot say anything. Then the consent was given under constraint because she's not able to talk during that time. Then the practitioners just do inform about the treatment and then just proceed without any informed consent from the patient. Although sometimes we might note that when the patient did not complain or just keep quiet, that means they are agreed. But sometimes in cases like that, incidents do happen that when they keep quiet, that means they do not understand or they do not agree with the information given. Okay. Obligation to patients continue with quality of care. We must give high standard of care and not recommending or performing unnecessary services or procedures, and offering of all possible treatment options with assistance of professional colleagues if necessary. That means if we cannot manage the patient, we need to get assistance from professional colleagues. Assigning duties to qualified auxiliaries. That means our auxiliaries must be trained. It's not that someone young, you just pick up and no training given and then just have you around. And then the one that is in bold is actually something new in this CPC, that in terms of quality of care, the surgeons and also therapists should take part in activities that maintain, update, and develop knowledge skills. That is linked or with the requirement of CBD points, right? For renewing the APC. So in terms of treatment of patients for children, there should be no intimidation. Using physical restraint in emergencies, special circumstances, and also to treat difficult patient may be acceptable, but has to get consent from the parent or responsible adult. And then if we have to cease treatment, we have to make an appropriate explanation to the parent or the responsible guardians and reschedule the appointments or arrange for referral if we cannot manage the patient, okay, the children. So 1.8 covering the dental fees, it should be proper and reasonable, and the display of fees is within the clinic premise and on official clinic web page or social media platform under the name of the practice. So that additional code.
Dr. Nurul, you are lagging, I think.
Okay, I think I lost my connection just now. Everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Cut off at obligation to patient 1.8. Okay, now, all right. So I lost my connection just now. So it's on 1.8 and the dental fees. I repeat, proper and reasonable according to the schedule for private practice under the Act 586. And also we have to display our fees in our in the clinic premises, and also now it's allowed on official clinic webpage, social media platforms under the name of the practice. Okay, this is something new. But no discount misleading charges has been in the old code as well, so still no discount and misleading charges. We can give itemized billing for patients upon request and inform prior and during course of treatment the fees. Okay, this is what we had recently a complaint where the patient complained as well. Every time they came, the patient came for treatment, the practitioner keep increasing, informing different fees. So it has to be informed to the patients. And deposits of not more than 30% and refundable when treatment terminated at any point after deducting costs incurred. It has been all in the old code as well. And no fee splitting and rebates. Okay. In terms of communicating with patient, we have to act professional, sympathetic, and cautious, and we have to explain the pre and post operative instruction. And in terms of when we're dealing with medication, we have to give information and clearly label the medication appropriately. In terms of communication with patient, only general information if we are giving information using electronic communication. So this is something additional. And failure of disclosure is dishonest. So patients should be informed of any complication that may arise during treatment. This is something additional to the new codes. Okay, so we have to always inform our patient accordingly to minimize the complaints by patient. 1.10 is on consultation and referral. So as practitioner, although we are trained, but when we are in doubt, we should consult communicate relevant information about the patient, and no additional fee, and seek patient's consent when we want to consult other colleagues. And dental professionals should provide comments only to professional findings, report or recommend, and return the patient upon completion of particular treatment. So basically, it has to be dealt within this one practitioner to another, to the referred practitioner. And we have also to refer to medical practitioner when necessary. Okay, when we see patients that probably have some medical illness related to dental problem, we have to refer to medical practitioners and only accept a referral from registered healthcare professional, right? So basically, we don't accept referral from illegal practitioners unless the patient comes on their own. It's not by referral. So 1.11 is on emergency treatment. We have to attend to any dental emergency and also may refer the patient for any follow-up treatment. And as professional, we have to manage our medical emergencies in dental practice. I saw someone raise hand. Should we ask the question later, kan, Dr. Norazia?
We have the Q&A session after this.
So I continue, right? So in terms of confidentiality of information, this is something new. All information is confidential and it should not be disclosed without the patient consent, except by legislation, court orders, or when public interest demand. But then if public interest pun, some information we have to be, some limited information that we can share, right? So particular care should be taken when information is stored electronically. So nowadays we have digital records and extra, so we have to get particular care in terms of confidentiality. And this is not just responsibility of us as dental professional. We have to make sure all members of the dental team and supporting staff aware about the importance of confidentiality, right? So when we talk about confidentiality and access to records, right, medical and dental ethics states that all information through professional relationship with patients are confidential except with written consent from patient. As for statutory duty, for example, forensic or criminal cases, and it's an information to next of kin for identification of dead body in terms of forensic as well. And then for the purpose of research, of course, the names will not be disclosed. Same goes to public interest and also court order, right? If we are uncertain, if when in terms of this confidentiality and access to record, we may not give the records immediately, ask for advice from lawyers. And we have to take note that all the records are like legal documents. Okay, so it will be used by patients to protect themselves and also by us dental professionals to protect ourselves. Okay. Number 13, under obligation to the patients is on maintenance of professional relationship. Every patient has a right to be treated with respect and courtesy, and we cannot abuse the professional relationship through personal relationship or personal gain. Okay, so we always maintain professional relationship with our patients. And in terms of when patient complains, we have to resolve the matter at clinic level under Section 36 of the 586 Act, right? Otherwise, the patient also can complain to the MDC if the patient thinks that any practitioners is practicing against ethical or has some disciplinary issues. Okay, so they will complain. But we do not entertain complaints related to cost reimbursement or something like that lah. So it's all about disciplinary issues. Under number 15 is on termination of practitioner and patient relationship. This is something additional to the new code. When we terminate patients, then we have to refer to another practitioners. And when we refer to another practitioners, we have to ensure that sufficient information is communicated to the new practitioners with the patient knowledge to enable seamless transitions of care. Okay, number 16 under obligation to patient is entirely a whole new provisions under this code. Is on managed care organization. With the current development, we noted that this MCO is managed care organization, not the COVID related MCO. Okay. So it's any organization or body with whom private healthcare facilities or services make a contract or has agreement or intend to make a contract or arrangement to provide specified types of or quality and quantity of care. So basically nowadays we have noted this has been increased in terms of managed care organization that is related to healthcare, be it dental or medical. Even medical has a separate guidelines on managed care organization, but dental, the dental profession decided to put this managed care organization to insert it under the CPC. So in terms of managed care organization, all registered practitioners must have legal and ethical duties in relation to managed care. And then we must not abrogate our duties as professional healthcare on the ground of influence market of MCO, market forces or MCO. So nowadays there are a lot of organizations trying to buy in our practitioners, but please note that it's unethical for MCO to request for lower professional fees as an inducement to refer corporate patients. And it's also ethical for MCO to restrict a practitioner's right of choice of referral to dental or medical practitioners or healthcare facilities, right? So when we engage with MCO in our for our practice, we have to note that confidential info and patient's record can only be released with informed consent by the patients. And fee splitting, which implies that practitioners make incentive payment to another practitioners for having referred patient to him, is unethical. So this is also listed under the MCO. And fee sharing between two practitioners in managing a patient is permissible, and but provided that these practitioners have direct responsibility and involvement of the management of the patients. Okay, so basically this covers all the items under the obligation to the patients. So now we move on to obligation to the dental profession. So basically, there are now in this current code, there are 5 obligations to dental profession. Number 1 is maintaining integrity of the profession to himself and also peers. So basically, we have to refrain from any action which may compromise integrity. And as the professionals, we have to bring attention to the council if we found any practitioner which, in his opinion, might undermine the honor of the profession. However, when we bring to the council as a practitioner, we have to note that we have to get enough evidences to actually to bring this attention to council. Otherwise, you are just not making, you are be considered as making trying to make your counterparts or your colleagues trying to put down their image or something like that. So you have to be make sure that you have enough sufficient grounds and evidence before you bring this to the council, so that the council can take any necessary action towards the complaint practitioner. Right. The second one is an update on knowledge and skills. So basically, it touches on the CPD. That is one of the requirements under the new Act. Advancement of the profession is the third one. So basically, we want all professionals to have a relationship with, as members of professional organization, either locally or internationally. Okay, so basically, we encourage all to join a professional organization to keep updated. This is as part of your obligation to the dental profession. And in terms of ethics in research, we have to do, when we do research, we have to get approval from Research Ethics Committee, and it should be done in compliance to the approval, not the other way around. Sometimes we do get approval, but we do not compliance to the given approval. And the results and benefits are available to relevant agency when it may be useful to safeguard the health or individual of the public. And the fifth one, there is a new one, on the professional indemnity. So this is also related to the new provision under the Dental Act. We should be adequately covered as long as we are involved in patient care. So that covers obligation to the dental professions. Now it's obligation to the colleagues. It's related just now to the dental profession. Number 1 is upholding colleagues' professional image. So we have to respect the rules and ethic of the profession and willing to assist professionally. And we shall not make any disparaging remarks and always speak out in recognition of good work. If I may share, we do have complaints from practitioners to the council stating that another practitioner is making not good remarks to him over social media. So that's another thing that I will touch about on the social media in the next presentation. In terms of justifiable criticism, if practitioners becomes aware that another colleague's incompetence, for example, is a drug addicted, have mental problem or physical incapability, evidence of control faulty treatment, then it should be practical. You have to draw this to the council. So, but as I mentioned just now, you have to have a strong ground evidences to make sure that your case is legit and will be taken seriously by the council. Otherwise, it might be just another, bad. You could be implied as bad intention to another colleagues. Okay. So the fourth one is obligations to the public. Basically, to public, we have obligation in terms of our health promotion through disease prevention and also control, as well as education. And also when we are relevant, we need to have offer screening programs. Okay, but basically all this oral health promotion, education must not solicit for patients or encourage patients to seek consultation from the place that you are associated lah. So basically when we promote, we promote to get oral health care in general to the nearest facility, convenience facility, not to your very own practice lah. Okay. Okay, next we move to part B of the code, the second part of the code, which is the practice management. Okay, under practice management, we have establishment of practice, which should abide by laws, regulation, and guidelines affecting the profession. Basically, in terms of practice, the location must be according to the 586 Act. The name of practice must be professional, implies professionalism. Okay. In terms of practicing certificate, we have to display valid APC as required by the Dental Act. And then in terms of minimum standards in dental practice, we have to have physical amenities and equipment, proper infection control, protection in terms of dental radiology and radiation, proper use of dental materials and also devices. We have to have a proper drugs and pharmaceutical management according to the Poisons Act. Remember, I listed a list of acts that are relevant to dental profession. We have also we have to ensure proper ways of disposal, proper waste disposal, and standards in emergency care services, and also we have to have minimum standards in patient grievance mechanism. The fifth one is on patient's record. We have to maintain clear and accurate health records. Okay, so we have to make sure that it's accurate, up to date, factual, objective, and eligible, and also make sure that the records are made as soon as possible after we finish our patients. Make sure the records are sufficient, kept securely, and retrievable. All right, and not subject to unauthorized access, especially both manual or electronic records. And then in terms of patient's record, this I wish to highlight the new the clearer provisions now in the CPC, where we have to recognize the right of patients or his legal guardians to access information contents in their own dental records. And we can provide the patient or his or legal guardian with a copy of the records or report upon request. So previously it was not clear stated in the old CPC. It's just stated that you have to maintenance of record or request of record has to go according to the 586 Act. But now we have made it clear based on the a few law cases that has been convicted in court, which touches on the rights of patients to their own record. Their record is their own property. Okay, so they have the right to request, and we have to give the patients as what requested. Okay. And in terms of records as well, when we have to transfer the information when requested by patients and also the guardian, we have to record the consent as well. And in terms of record keeping, we have to make sure that the record is kept for a minimum of 7 years from patient's last visit or the date that patient attains the age of majority. So the age of majority in Malaysia, as mentioned before, is 18 years old. So you have to keep the patient's record for minimum of 7 years and should never falsify a patient's records. Okay. So unfortunately, although we have learned a lot about dental record, dental charting during our studies, during our undergrad days, this is what we found lacking in our dental records and charting, especially when the case has been brought by
Dr. Shakir, I think your line is interrupted.
Line interrupted? Is it okay? Can you all hear me? Can you see me? Okay, ke? Okay, Dr. Hazim Muhammad. Okay, all right. Okay, so I should continue. Okay, so basically, all right. Okay, thank you. So basically, when we do preliminary investigation meetings, investigation, also counsel inquiry with regards to complaint received by patients basically we found there's so much lacking in terms of patient's record and also charting, dental charting. So basically that's why the council is now coming up with a new guideline on dental charting and dental record, so that more attention is to be given by all and to must be what do you call it, by must be taken into consideration by all the dental practitioners. Okay. Right. This under practice management 5.6 is all new, practicing as dental therapists. Okay. All we have dental therapists as well in this webinar, right? So basically kalau dental therapist yang bekerja di sektor swasta, you have to be bekerja dalam direct supervision. Okay, and also if you are engaging, employing a dental therapist in your dental practice, you have to do direct supervision. Basically now we do have dental therapists practicing in private practice, especially in private universities lah. Okay. Direct supervision means dental surgeon shall be present at all times and they can only carry out treatment according to treatment plan approved by dental surgeon. Right, but a dental therapist can only carry out procedure listed in 5th schedule. Okay, jadual kelima tu hanya untuk juruterapi yang boleh prosedur yang boleh dibuat oleh juruterapi, and a post-basic dental therapist can carry out the procedure listed in both the 5th and 6th schedule, but according to the relation to the listing of the post-basic qualification. Okay, so basically they cannot cross field lah, in terms cross discipline when they are post-basic dental therapists. Okay, so item 6 on professional qualification ranks and awards. So basically it touches on the degrees whereby only qualification registered with the council or board, or any qualification approved by council or board can be used. And also in terms of degrees and awards, only degrees mentioned in 6.1 and state or national honorary awards can be used in all these nameplates, business card, letterheads, and also plaques and or other notices correspondent associated with the practice. Okay, this is something new where we have removed the one on honorary qualification that is in the old code. Now there's no more. The honorary qualification is no more allowed under the new CPC. Okay. Number 7 is on notice to patients. Basically, we can notify patients, only our own patients lah. Okay, which our own patients on record, any changes of address or clinic hours, right? And we cannot entice patients away from current practice if we want to open up or living to another practice. Okay. And in terms of advertising, is also mentioned in this CPC, whereby it has to comply with the current guidelines and provision for public information endorsed by council or board. Right. Under practice management, number 9, infection control, should practice the highest standards of infection control, comply with the guidelines endorsed by MDC. Number 10 is on contracts, whereby we should not compromise professional standards or the health of the patient and must abide to the provision in the 580 Act and its regulation. And we as professionals should not enter into partnership or association or become financially interested in a practice owned or controlled by unethical dental practitioner. So we must not get involved with anything that is unethical. The number 11 under practice management is on endorsement of pharmaceutical and dental products. As dental professional, we should not endorse any dental or pharmaceutical product unless it is the best interest of his patients. Okay, so basically it's only for best interest of patients and not for other purposes. In terms of dental radiography and radiation protection, the procedures which requires radiograph should be taken out should be taken, should be taken, but unnecessary exposure should be avoided. And we have also to abide by the Atomic Energy Legislation Act, another act which is relevant to the dental practice. And also we have guidelines on radiation safety endorsed by Council for storage and operating of the machines. Okay. And there's a new provision under this code under licensing, certification and maintenance of equipment, whereby all necessary licenses should be obtained, and all these equipments must be calibrated and tested out at appropriate times. And in terms of statements and certificate, as professional, we should not making untrue or misleading statements or declaration, or sign certificate or documents, or induce any other person to do likewise. This is in terms of practice management, right? So basically, I've covered both two parts of the Code of Professional Conduct, okay? And then we have these guidelines and directive by the Council. These are lists of MBC guidelines. These all available on our website. We have radiation safety guidelines, methods of disposal of hypodermic needles, guidelines on oral care practitioners infected with blood-borne diseases virus, guidelines on infection control, code of practice of professional accreditation for undergraduate dental degree 2019 currently is under revision, and the new revised edition will come up soon. Guidelines position statement on dental amalgam. We have position document use of fluorides, quite recent, 2021. Guidelines for application for temporary practice certificate of dental surgeon. We have updated it in 2022 in line with the new Dental Act. We have also guidelines to participate in oral health community service program, also recently updated 2022 to be in line with the new Dental Act. Guidelines and provision for public information, there's a typo there, it should be 2022. And the most recent one is the Panduan Pelaksana Khidmat Wajib Universiti Pendidikan Swasta, to just published on 15 July 2022. So all these guidelines are available on our website. You have to take your own initiative and read all these guidelines and comply to all these guidelines as mentioned in the Dental Act. So this is our website. In case some of you have not access to our website, basically they thought that, most of the practitioners think that DPIMS is the only website that MBC have, but this is our actual website. DPIMS is just a system, a database on dental practitioners in Malaysia. Is not our website. So this is our website, right? mbc.moh.gov.my. So basically, I'm coming to the end of the this presentation, right? As a conclusion, we have to take note that this code, together with the guidelines that I mentioned before, will assist us as practitioners in particular situation whereby we have to exercise our professional care and judgment and accept personal responsibilities. Okay, so basically, when I did mention that when a practitioner is being called by the council for inquiry, they will always go back to the code and also guidelines whether the complaint practitioner has breached any clause of the codes and also guidelines. And therefore it is mandatory that all practitioners adhere to the code and guidelines, okay, and also behave professionally and responsibly and act in the best interest of patient, also in public in general. So basically, we cannot accept excuse by not knowing the codes or guidelines, existing codes and guidelines as the reasons why you did not comply. Okay, basically the code has been in this profession for dental surgeon for us as mentioned before, for such a long time, but this code is a new one for dental therapists who registered under the new Dental Act this year. So basically, when it comes to registration, recognition, etc., you have to, the dental therapists also have to abide by all the ethics and guidelines as professionals in the dental world. Okay, so just some take-home message. Okay. Another some important ones that you have to take note. Treatment records is legal documents, so it's your responsibility. Okay, we cannot accept excuse you don't have time, etc., etc. Because the time is actually for your own to back up your own doings, right? So when there are no records, then nothing that can help you when you are called by the council or the court. Okay, and then that's why we are bounded by two interrelated laws and ethics, which covered this morning, Dental Act 2018, also CPC. And if you are uncertain about all these, all or parts of the implication from these two laws and guidelines, you have to get advice from relevant authorities. And most of the time, especially in practice now, you have to make sure that you have witness. So when we call practitioner for inquiry, we found it it will be helpful if you have to witness to actually back up all your the accused allegations against a practitioner. Okay, and signature and certification of professional are valuable. So that's why we advise for not simply signs and documents, right? And we have to employ extra caution for at-risk cases in terms of patient and ignorance. As mentioned before, ignorance of the law is not an acceptable defense if you are called by the council. So I think that covers my presentation this morning in terms of Code of Professional Conduct. And then I see a few comments in the chat. I'll pass back to Dr. Norazia as the moderator of the session.
Okay, thank